Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshak if you want to call me by my in-game name. We're going to be going over card review number 5. We've got tons of new cards to go over. A lot of these look pretty cool. The weird thing is we've only reviewed like half the cards so far. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be reviewed, or a lot of stuff that's going to be released towards basically like 3-ish days before the actual release of the set, which happens on the 7th, which is less than a week away. Pretty ridiculous. So let's get right into it. The cards that we have to review thus far and right now. We have Deck of Wonders. Shuffle 5 scrolls into your deck. When drawn, cast a random spell. It costs 5 mana. So when you actually, it's very similar to all of the other draw mechanics when you put tokens, I guess you could call them, into your deck, is you draw the token, it triggers the ability, and then you draw basically your card of that turn. It doesn't actually count as you drawing the card. Like, you actually still get to draw the card, and then of course the effect of this triggers. So cast a random spell, and I'm assuming it's at a random minion if it's, target based. 5 mana. So basically this is going to come down to how popular like a control mage list is, and then from there how many spells there are in mage that, when like in general, what is the percentage that the spell that this casts helps you. And if that's above like 75%, then I suppose this could be a pretty good card. But like, this isn't a card that you get the effect of it like right away. And on top of that, the fact that it's random, so it's like really unreliable. And there's also a lot, like, I think a lot of the time you're probably going to pull a secret because there's a lot of mage secrets. So in terms of value, this will probably well outlast the value of spending 5 mana on the card. But is this reliable? And like let's say you're playing against a tempo rogue, an evolved shaman, whatever. It doesn't have to be those, just whatever, faster pace decks there are in the meta at this time. This card doesn't do it. So I don't really like this card that much. It doesn't actually like it, you just don't know what it's gonna do. It could be really fucking awesome, it could be really bad. And for me to place like, yeah, this card's gonna be good, yeah, it'll be good sometimes, and then sometimes it'll be bad because again, it's just like one of those random cards. So not one of my favorite printed cards. I like the idea of shuffling tokens into your deck. I like that, the whole Elise mechanic of shuffling like maps and things in your deck. When you draw them, you play them and they do really good things because you paid the price of having to wait to draw them. But like the fact that it's all random when you happen to draw these cards, kind of like, it's not exciting for me at all. Moving to the next one is actually a really cool card because you know exactly what you're getting out of it. It's a 9 mana 3/3. It's the Mage Legendary. It's Battle Cry. Summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell you've cast this game that costs 5 or more. So it's weird that like for mage, the mages last expansion they got Syndragosa, which was of course a dragon. This is following along the same kind of dragons. They printed mage dragons before, but priest is mainly where we find the most dragons. So it's interesting to see them like continuously printing these dragon mage cards. So dragon mage may be a thing. Maybe it's just kind of like a control mage and it has like that dragon end game sort of thing. But when you think it costs 5 or more, you think of Kabbalist Tome, the card we just went over, Firelands, Portal, Meteor, Blizzard, Flame Strike, Pyroblast, stuff like that. So even if, for example, you summon 2 minions, you get 2 5/5s and a 3/3, you basically get a 13/13 out of a 9 mana card. That's not too bad. It's really not bad. But the problem is when she kind of gets summoned out of your deck. Like, let's say they dirty rat this card, feels really bad. Her stats are they're just really lacking. The 5/5 dragon, the dragon, I don't think the word dragon really matters unless I guess you're playing against a priest and they have Dragon Fire Potion, of course. I think it's a pretty good control mage card. It competes with the Janna in the mana slot, and right now like the mage DK, and that's just a really good card. So it's just like, are you willing to, as a control mage, play 2 9 mana cards? One puts actual minions on. Like, what if this made elementals, and then you would have made 5/5 elementals, and the elementals would have lifesteal, would have synergy with the corresponding DK. So maybe there's like a different rendition that wouldn't run Jaina, but then this deck would just solely lose to the Jaina deck because the Jaina deck would just outvalue in the long run. So we'll have to see where it is. I don't like that it competes with the mana slot of currently the DK, which I think is much better than this card. But by no means do I think this ability is bad. It just doesn't compete with the Mage DK. That card's just crazy. And sorry if I seem a little bit tired. I am for some reason exhausted. I don't know why I'm so tired today. I really didn't do anything that I wanted to do today. I had to get up and like force myself to do this review. I mean, I'm super excited about these cards, but for some reason, just some days you just feel so tired, and there's not any particular reason for it. So the next card we're going to talk about is the Dragon's Fury. It's a 5-mana reveal a spell from your deck, deal damage equal to its cost to all minions. Reveal a spell from your deck, deal. This is a big card. I mean, Mage already has a lot of board clear. I mean, you look at not necessarily like Frost Nova Doomsayer, it's not like built-in field clear like, you know, Flame Strike and Blizzard are, or Meteor, but it's still, you know, a form of board clear that Control Mage has. So for you to play Dragon's Fury, and it deals damage to everything, but you'd play this more in a Control Dragon. I like that they're pushing the AoE towards like the earlier game, besides just having Volcanic Potion. But there's a fly. That has nothing to do with the review. So if you pull like a Frostbolt, it's a 5-mana, do 2 to everything, which is basically the Volcanic Potion, which you played 3 for. But let's say you pull like a Firelands Portal, you know, you're doing 7 to everything for 5 mana. That's a dank ass board clear. And there's no like overload cost, of course, or nothing like that. So, I mean, it could put, again, it's random though. Guys, it's just, like, I like cards that you know exactly what they're going to do in like a span. Like you could do this up. This is the lowest point of the card, this is the highest point of the card, and it, you know, average out in the middle. At worst case, you've got some flux there, so it could, you know, high roll, low roll, but at least you know what it's doing. This card, I guess it does that, but it's just not, I like consistency, man. And everything just says random or not random. But I mean, I like the card. I like that they're pushing AoE for a cheaper price, because, you know, getting swarmed by a Zoolock or a Druid on turn 4 and they've got 5 minions out and they all have roughly anywhere between 2 to 4 health, and you can't do anything because your deck just isn't, there's no card in your deck that clears that kind of board unless you rip Frost Nova Doomsayer and you hope they don't have a Crazed Alchemist or some sort of thing like that. So yeah, you guess you could try to run something like this if you have, you know, maybe there's some form of Mage deck that won't actually run Frostbolts. They just don't, the cheapest spell in their deck will be Fireball. Or Secrets, maybe if they're Secrets, right? So you run like 2 Ice blocks, and the rest of your deck is just Fireballs plus, which means you're at least almost guaranteeing that it's a 4 or plus. So you pay 5 mana, deal 4 to everything, so that's basically a 2 mana cheaper Flame Strike. Yeah, seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. It's not a bad card. This card, I think, is really good. So I think this is going to help Miracle Rogue out a lot. Any card that draws 2 cards, which we know is worth 3 mana. So 3 mana is worth 2 cards. And then this is a 3/2 for 4, which means you're basically playing a 1 mana 3/2. And people are already playing Gnomish Inventor, which is a 4 mana 2/4 draw 1. So if they're going to play a 4 mana draw 2 3/2, it has, you know, a little less health. It has a slightly more attack, and it's a combo, but it's rogue specific. I think this is a really good rogue card. I think this is going to see a lot of play in Miracle Rogue, a lot of play. Could be wrong, but I think this is going to be good stuff. Won't be found in, I don't think it's necessarily a tempo rogue card, because drawing cards in the hand isn't really necessary for what the deck is trying to do. The deck normally, by the time it runs out of your card, your opponent's dead regardless. So I think this is more of definitely a combo / Miracle Rogue type build. Really good card, not much else to it. Moving to the next one, Evasion. I believe this is the last rogue secret. There was 3 in total this expansion. It's a 2 mana secret. After your hero takes damage, become immune this turn. That's some ice block shit right there. That's literally ice block for rogue. I don't think people realize. Well, it's after your hero takes damage, not that it goes to 1. So there is a clear difference here between it and Ice Block. Because Ice Block, you can put it down and it will never trigger unless you're going to die. This, let's say you can just play it, and even if you're not going to die, it's going to trigger. So you actually would play this when you think you're going to die, or when you're low enough to you can kind of guarantee you're dying next turn. So it acts as if it is the Ice Block. You'd never necessarily play this card just to play it, because you don't want to take whatever damage that turn. I guess you could to you know, mitigate damage, and then just put, I think it's gonna be a fantastic, like, regardless, this card is really good. I think this card is really, really good, and it's gonna make it so Miracle Rogue players have an additional basically 2 turns to survive. And that gives them, you know, sometimes the pieces they need to draw into whatever they're trying to do with Auctioneer, Malygos, you know, Sinister Strikes, Abysses, whatever the hell they're, you know, Giants, Valera. I mean, giving rogues a form of, here, have an extra turn, which we already know what they can do. You give a rogue, you know, a little bit of mana and a Gadgets and Auctioneer, and all of a sudden, bad things start happening. So giving them 2 extra turns, which basically 2 evasions, I mean, this is a good card. I remember, it's a little off the broken path, but I remember back in like Arathi Basin, back in like vanilla days, rogues had evasion and you would literally kill them, and then when they hit one, like around like 100 HP, like they just wouldn't take damage anymore at all, and it was impossible to fucking kill a rogue, and they had like that 3 seconds that they were fucking Jesus. And then, it doesn't matter what you did, you could have an entire raid shooting frostbolts at this fucking rogue, and this guy would be like, ha ha, motherfuckers, you don't do shit to me. And he'd be just running through. He'd just pop his he would pop like an evasion and then spirit or sprint, and then he would just fucking book it, and then he would like vanish on top of that, and then they would just never die. The motherfuckers were invincible. They're Jesus. Sorry for those of you who didn't play WoW. Yeah, you're like, Rob, I don't give a fuck. For those of you who did play WoW back in vanilla days, you're like, Rob, I cannot believe I just remembered that. This guy is the 5 mana Furblog Mossbinder. Hopefully I said it right. He's a battle cry, transforming a friendly minion into a 6/6 elemental. Ooh, spicy. I see evolve. Well, first of all, I see two sides of this coin here. First, if you evolve your 4 mana minion and you get this fucker, you're gonna be mad because he's a 1/1, similar to I can't think of him at the top of my name, but he's a 6 mana 1/1. So they're actually making Thrall a tidbit worse with all of these cards that they're printing that have battle cries. You know, that 9 mana 3/3. If you think about it, they're statting these cards to make Thrall a lot worse, but as a byproduct. So that's interesting. But transforming a friendly minion to a 6/6 elemental. I think this card is gonna be played more out of just people evolving 4 HP minions like Serenite Chain Gang, then this card is actually going to see play. I guess technically you could see it because turn 6 you play this guy onto something and then you evolve, and then you basically get a 6 mana and then a 7 mana card, because I'm assuming the 6/6 elemental costs 6 mana unless it's like tokened, and then that would be weird. So it probably costs 6 mana. It's probably be a 6. It's either a 5 mana 6/6 or a 6 mana 6/6 elemental. But regardless, could see you play in some evolved shamans, but I don't think so. I think it's going to see more play out of like whoopsie daisies from evolving the wrong target. The next card we're going to be taking a look at is going to be the Manipulator. It's a 4 mana 4/5 elemental battle cry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. This is crazy shenanigan sauce. First of all, it's statted pretty fucking good. I mean, it's a 4 mana 4/2. The stats are like thick as shit. So, and it's already an elemental. So this card's stats and its type already really good regardless of ability, which means no matter when you play this at any point in time, it's good. Meaning when you get its ability, which is already really good, it just makes this card super superb. So again, Tome, if you pick anything off the Primordial Glyph, you've got cards like Babbling Book. You know what I'm talking about? There's I don't want to say that. There's a crazy amount of ways that you can basically generate cards that don't belong in your deck, and then reducing those for some sort of combo, regardless if you're aiming for a specific combo, which you literally can't because those cards are random, but you can kind of get the gist of, hey, I can put these 3 cards together that I got from my tome into this particular turn that I would have never been able to play due to the fact that all of the mana costs far and beyond what is normal. So really good card, really good card for Elemental Mage. Pushing it hard, pushing that thick Elemental Mage. The next one's going to be Lesser Emerald Spellstone, a 5 mana summon 2 3/3 wolves, play a secret to upgrade. Obviously, as it upgrades, it will summon 3 3/3 wolves, and the last one will summon 4 3/3 wolves for 5 mana. Already at 5 mana, summoning 2 3/3 wolves isn't that bad. That's basically a 6/6 and a 6 mana. A 6/6 for 5 mana is not terrible. You play one secret, and all of a sudden, this explodes into something really good. And then, you know, 4 3/3 wolves for 5 mana is outstanding. I don't think the wolves have death rattle because that would make this card super broken. Secret Hunter will definitely be playing this. If the Hunter does not play secrets, obviously will not be playing this, so it's meant for a specific kind of Hunter deck. How popular will Secret Hunter be? Not too sure. They're pushing a Control Hunter at the moment, so we'll have to see, you know, what takes precedent. Always some form of aggressive / mid-range Hunter has always taken precedent or over some form of Control Hunter, just because of the type of class it is and the hero power that it has. So I highly doubt that we will see some form of Control Hunter based on what we've seen in the past. But regardless, pretty cool card. And I think, again, if secrets are played, I mean, if you play secrets at all, you technically, I guess you would assume you'd play this, right? So moving to the, well, I guess you could play that. Here, hold on, let me go back to it real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, so you could play that. You could play secrets in your Control Hunter deck, and you'd play this because you wouldn't play a 5-mana. I guess you would play a 5-mana, but you wouldn't keep this in your mulligan. Regardless, I don't think you'd keep this in your mulligan with Control Hunter anyway. So I think this could be played in both if you're playing some form of like secret fast-paced Hunter or secret slower-paced Hunter. I think it'll actually fit in both, surprisingly. The Druid Legendary, 5-mana, 2/4. He's thick. Just kidding, this guy's thinnest. This guy's super thin. He's an elemental. After you play a minion, summon a copy of it. Okay. I mean, that's a really powerful ability, so obviously its stats suck. That's why it had, you know, it's a 5-mana 2/4. So obviously it's best when it doesn't die after it's sit on the board a turn. But I guess the best you could do when you play this card is you would like play it with 10 mana and then you'd like innervate, have 7 mana and you'd play something, or you'd actually have to play the minion, right? So it's not like you can like play this guy, you know, trigger some death rattle. The death rattle triggers, summons a minion, and then it summons 2 of that minion. You'd just be better off playing, you know, some other card that triggers with death rattles. So I don't really see the combo with this guy at the moment, due to the fact that I've had like 2 glasses of wine and I'm tired of shit. But I'm sure there's going to be something in the future, or they wouldn't have printed a card like this, that this guy combos semi-well with. It'll be interesting to see. The elemental thing is weird. I'm not sure where the elemental thing's going, but again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't want to say too much because I don't know. And if I don't know, I'm not going to say too much. Possessed Lackey, the 5-mana 2/2 Death Rattle, recruit a demon. All right, so we've seen very, very similar things to this previously with this recruit, whether it's 6 mana and recruit a card from your deck. We've seen the 9 mana recruit 2 4s from your deck. So there's definitely a lot of recruit mechanic going on, which is basically, for those of you who don't understand the recruit mechanic, think of Yashiraj, you know, the legendary that pulls a minion out of your deck randomly and then puts it on the board. That's exactly what recruit is. It randomly pulls a minion out of your deck and it slaps that baby on the board. So it's basically Yashira's ability as recruit. So a lot of big decks running around. So we might see some big warrior, might see some big warlock, big shaman, which already exists, yo boy. But there's definitely going to be, I think, a couple more. There's going to be a few more big decks floating around, which is going to slow down the meta. But that also technically will also speed up at the meta at the same time, because people who are playing big decks, people don't want to, you know, play 30-minute matches or 20-minute matches. They want to play 5-minute matches because, you know, they play the game on their phone or on the bus and they just kind of play it on the go. Therefore, you have people who play aggro, and the aggro will punish necessarily the more slow, greedy control decks. So there's always that good balance there. How good is this card? It's hard to say. I like right now, big warlock doesn't like. If I want to play some form of big warlock, I'll just play handlock. I'll play my giants. You know, I'll be excited about that. I'll slap my Gul'dan in there. He makes me happy. Summon lots of demons. Like this guy, if he gets silenced, he's a fucking pucker face. He ain't doing shit. You know, and it could pull a demon. If you're playing demons, you probably play Void Walker, which is bad. But regardless, I guess if you pull a Doomguard, it's totally worth. You pull a Despicable Dreadlord, it's pretty worth. You pull Draxus, you know, 315, that's always thick. So there's some good cards, but there's also some bad cards. So it's going to be, I think this is, I mean, there's definitely going to be a form of Big Warlock. Don't get me wrong. This will be played in Big Warlock. The question is, how good will Big Warlock be? They keep printing cards like this, and the weapon, I think it actually might be pretty competitive. Reckless Fury. We're heading into the Control Warrior cards, which we already covered one, and I believe we covered one already. I don't even remember that far back. My mind is like... 3 mana, spend all of your armor. So we're cashing out here, boys. Deal that much damage to all minions. So Explodey on the Bordo. So they've given Mage the Explodey on the Bordo for 5 mana, and it randomly pulls, you know, the spell out of your deck. This, you actually have to spend all your armor, which is... I wish it would have said for how much armor you have, Explodey the Bordo, but you actually have to use that armor. So let's say you have 20 armor, you know, and they have a pretty big board. You're going to lose all of that 20 armor to kill that board that you want to kill. You know, granted, you're paying 3 mana to basically kill an entire board, but, you know, is 20 armor really worth it? So there's going to be like a little bit of a juggle there. Like, when at the right mana should I use this card? Or when at the right armor should I use this card so I'm not overusing my armor versus, you know, I can absorb some damage and have him play some more cards so we actually can get some true value out of this. Because giving up, you know, anywhere above 7 armor is pretty huge because, you know, let's say they have a 4 attack minion on the board and you have 20 armor and you can gain 2 a turn. It's going to take them until fucking infinity to get through your armor because you're only technically taking 2 a turns. It's going to take 10 turns for them to even get rid of your armor and using all of it just to kill that single minion. Plus you've used a card and gotten rid of all your armor. So they could have printed this card to make it a little bit better, but, you know, I guess I'll take what I get because I haven't played with it yet. So maybe you shield block, Reckless Fury, 6 mana, clear all minions for 5. That doesn't seem like a bad combo. You actually technically don't gain armor. You draw a card and kill everything for 6 mana. That doesn't seem that terrible, but you have to combo those two together. So obviously it's going to be a really good card. There's going to need to be something when Sleep with the Fishes rotates out this upcoming, not this expansion, but next expansion. And this is basically Sleep with the Fishes replacement. And that just has to do with armor. I've been asking for a card like this for fucking ever. Moving to Twilight's Call. A 3 mana summon 1/1 copies of 2 friendly Death Rattle minions that died this game. I really like this card. This is basically, we had built an ultimate value priest deck not too long ago. And it didn't really have any clear win condition besides literally either fatigue the opponent or outvalue them to the point where they have no cards in hand. I have a full hand and full board. So this is going to fit ever so perfectly in the Death Rattle / ultimate value priest deck. Will this card see play in Big Priest? Maybe, because there's some pretty good Death Rattles in Big Priest with the 2, because we could generate 2 1/1s that kill minions when they die. So we could go like Twilight's Call into Spirit Lash, and for 5 mana, for 5 mana we use 2 cards, we gain X amount of health based on how many minions, and we kill 2 opponent minions, depending on how big they are and how many minions we've killed. So I think this is a pretty good card. I'm not discounting this card at all. I will definitely try to make this card useful because I like Death Rattle Priest, or some form of ultimate value deck. It makes me very happy. Moving to this nice warrior card, the Unidentified Shield, 6 mana, gain 5 armor, gains bonus effect in your hand. That bonus effect can be as follows. Gain an additional, so I'm reading them off to you, is gain 5 armor, gain 10 more armor, gain 5 armor, deal 5 damage, gain 5 armor, equip a 5/2 weapon, and then gain 5 armor, summon a 5/5 golem. So you're going to get this ability and the next ability. Definitely going to be finding 2 of these suckers in Control Warrior. I'm pretty sure 100% of the time. This is just a really value-oriented card. You gain a lot of armor. It also combos with the card that just came out. Like I was just saying with shield. So this basically just added another shield block to the deck. Gain 5 armor, and you'd combo this with the other card for 3, which costs 9, which is so conveniently placed at 9 because 9 is at a mana slot where you can't actually hero power and then use this card to do 7. So they've made this card specifically 6 for that, I believe, reason. Definitely going to see 2 of these bad boys in Control Warrior. Will we see this in some form of Quest Warrior? I don't think Quest Warrior really needs cards like this because Quest Warrior ultimately has the quest completion, which changes the hero power to deal 8 damage, and it doesn't really need anything like this to actually win at the game because it can just win the game by itself. Unstable Evolution, the Shaman card. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more, and then repeatable this turn. So basically, depending on how much mana you have, when you use this card, you get infinite evolves. Well, not infinite, infinite in regards to how much mana you have. So you have 8 mana. You can just keep casting. Well, actually, all right. So the mechanic works like this. Sorry if I didn't explain that very well. Let's say you have 5 mana. You cast this. You go to 4 mana. You pick the minion. This returns to your hand. You still have 4 mana. Let's say you only want to use it that once this turn because you have a Jade Lightning. When you use your Jade Lightning and end turn, this card will leave your hand at that point. So you've only used it once, but you have the potential to use it up to 5 times. So you basically have the Thrall hero power for 1 mana for 1 turn when you use this card the first time. I think it's a really good card. I don't think it's going to actually be an Evolved Shaman. It actually could be an Evolved Shaman, but I don't think it needs to be an Evolved Shaman. I think you can actually play this in some form of Big Shaman with like smaller creatures. So you'd place double Serenite in the deck, you play Doppelgangsters, but the deck will actually be a little bit slower and it'll just have a lot of AoE up front. And then you're just going to make your shitty minions good minions by spike turns, and it won't really need the aggro at the beginning because you'll just make such big swing turns at the later game that your opponent can't deal with it. At least that's the way I'm going to try to build the deck. It'll be pretty interesting in my opponent. And maybe it'll be found in the more aggressive style shaman, but I'm gonna try to see if I can fit this into one of like more of a slower paced with like a basically AoE up front and then creature back end. We'll see how that works. Pretty interesting card though. And then here comes the Paladin Legendary, the last card we have to review today. I'm glad this is the Paladin Legendary weapon and not the fucking Warrior Legendary weapon. I would have been so upset. I would have been so mad if this was the Warrior Legendary, because I am sick and tired of them giving Warrior give something plus in hand. Like, we've already seen how good one of the gang leaders are. Well, what's his name? Don Hancho. We've already seen how great that guy is. You know, give a creature in your hand +5/+5 battle cry. Woof fucking do. So this is a 6 mana 4/2 battle cry. Give a minion in your hand 4/2. When it dies, re-equip this. Wait. It re-equips the weapon. So you always have a 4/2 weapon. All right, hold on. Maybe this is better than I expect. Death Rattle. So when you play this, you get the 4/2. Death Rattle, that means when it goes away, give him. So when this dies, 4/2, re-equip this. So once you play this weapon, you have it forever. That really? That can't be possible. I have to be not understanding that. How much wine, Rob? How much wine have we had? So you can't get rid of this weapon. Please, please chat, tell me just like I'm dumb or something, that I'm just like reading this correctly. Because if you can spend 6 mana to always have a 4/2 weapon and it'll always get rid of and buff a minion, then this is really good. This is fucking retarded good. So maybe it should have been to Warrior. But when I originally thought I read this, I thought when this dies, you give the minion the 4/2 and this returns to your hand. So you have to play this card again. Or maybe it didn't even return to your hand. I don't know what I originally thought. But re-equip this weapon. Well, I don't even know. I'm going to stop talking about it because I'm probably super wrong or something. But that just seems wrong. I guess. I don't know. I'm freaking out over here. I'm like, my mind is like, have you ever seen the SpongeBob episode where they're like burning all the files and they're fucking going crazy? And they're like, warning, warning. And they're like fucking all scattering and stuff. That's what's happening right now. So with that, I thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in the next review. I believe we'll probably do like 2 more reviews because there's been a ton of cards, and basically at the end of this video I've already looked and there's like a ton of cards that have come out since I had planned to do this. And then Ben Brode and Day 9 are also doing a card review 2 days from now, and they'll be covering 30+ cards, and obviously after that day I'll be reviewing those cards as well. So I'm assuming there will be about 2 more card reviews to go, and then, you know, the new set should release a day after that. So this is going to be really good. I'll be streaming, you know, the day of the release and opening packs. So hopefully I'll see most of you guys on the stream. And with that, I will catch you in the next episode. Of course, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.